Welcome to this edition of Startup Central. I'm Avanne Dubash. If you want to connect or reach out to us, suc@etnow.tv is where you shoot out an email. Lots lined up today over the next half hour. Let's start off the show then by bringing on board Tim Draper. He is an American venture capitalist investor. He talks about his investment thesis, outlook on different asset classes, as well as the future of some of his investments. Tim, great to have you today on Startup Central. Now, to begin with, you're known for your early investments in a lot of renowned global companies, the likes of a Hotmail or a SpaceX for that matter, Baidu, Skype. What exactly has been your investment thesis and how has it changed over the last few years?
When I got started, I just used to knock on doors. Any new development would have a few software companies in it, and I would just go knock on their door and see if they were looking for money. But over time, my investment thesis has gone to this, where we now have so many. I think we saw 80,000 opportunities last year, and we see many that are companies that could be done by anyone. And so it's usually people, markets, and technology. And what we look at first is how big is the market, how big is the opportunity, and then I kind of ask the question, what if this works? After I've met the entrepreneur and I've looked into the technology and I'm happy with the market size, I ask the question, what if it works? All the other venture capitalists seem to ask the question, what could go wrong? And I think you get what you look for. And when I say what if it works, if it's a world I want to live in, then I'll invest. And that tends to be a good philosophy. It ends up working very well, and hopefully other venture capitalists will start taking it on. But people are very nervous with their money, and so that they're always focused on the downside. I always know that there is a downside. I know things can go badly, so I'm really looking at how high is up. And often the entrepreneur doesn't even know how big a company can get. And so I try to think, what if it works beyond their wildest dreams? Then what does the world look like?
Now, some of the investments haven't panned out as one would have expected it to. I think the largest example there would be Theranos. We've seen the downfall of that company. So what have been some of your key learnings from an investment like this?
Well, I think entrepreneurs need to be bold, and they need to make great things happen, and they're overcoming big barriers. And those big barriers are difficult to maneuver. And I think that as an entrepreneur goes forward and builds something of great value, they are, if they get big enough, they are stepping on the toes of the people before them. I think right now, OpenAI is starting to step on the toes of Google and Facebook. And I think you're starting to see another transformation start to happen. And that stuff happens, and then there's a battle. And the battle begins, and that battle takes on all sorts of forms.
That's interesting, and I want to talk about your show as well, Meet the Drapers. What makes this show really stand out? Do you ever really go back to the drawing board, redo your business strategy, take any sort of inspiration from those who are presenting on your show?
That's a great question. I think more of that has happened with Draper University, because we have a pledge that we do that's all about freedom and trust and honesty, and it helps me in my everyday life. Every time I do the pledge for the students, I realize these are things I've got to be consistent with and abide by myself, and that has made a difference. The show has really taken off. We are so excited about our audience. We're so grateful for the production, for the relationship with Times Group. We think that this show has some real legs, and it's so much fun. My sister, my dad, my children, we have really enjoyed doing the show. We've learned a lot from the entrepreneurs that we've met. The entrepreneurs that have come have gotten bigger and better and more. We are overwhelmed with how many entrepreneurs are now applying to be on Meet the Drapers, and we're excited about how the show has taken off, and the viewership just continues to grow. And now it's growing very much worldwide. It started here in India, and now we've got big followings in Brazil and Taiwan, and the U.S. is starting to come along. We think we're really onto something to have a show where real venture capitalists are interviewing real entrepreneurs and giving them the tough questions and answers. But yeah, a lot of those entrepreneurs, they always give me food for thought. And of course, I try to look at my guiding North Star. I say, what if it works? What if it works beyond the entrepreneur's wildest dream? I want to add one more thing, and that is I'm here in India filming 2 more episodes of Meet the Drapers. So I'm very excited about doing them locally here. So we're quite excited. There's some amazing entrepreneurs that the team has found, and I'm really looking forward to meeting them all.
Okay, now Tim, I wanted to understand where you stand when it comes to the India story, because the Prime Minister as well has gone on record to say that startups in India are the backbone of the Indian economy and of New India. So how are you viewing startup companies in India? Are you seeing a lot more innovation now coming from rural India, and that really helping to solve a lot of some of the niggling problems that they have there? Is that something or a theme that you're bullish on?
Yeah, the last time I came to India was 2019, and it was just before the pandemic hit. And at that time, I was blown away by how creative and exciting the entrepreneurial opportunities were, and I couldn't believe how the valuations had gone up so high. Now I think the valuations have come back down. I think the entrepreneurs are still making amazing progress here in India from all walks of life, everywhere around India. So I think that is quite exciting, and I think Prime Minister Modi has really hit on something very important, and that is you really want to take care to allow the entrepreneurial environment to thrive in your country. And it has, and it's brought great prosperity here in India, and I think it will continue to. And you mentioned something about Bitcoin. The great politicians, the honest politicians, are the ones who are encouraging their country to use Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Because it keeps perfect records, and it'll take the taxes out, and you won't have to go and hunt people down for their taxes, and all sorts of good things happen. But the corrupt politicians are going to be nervous about Bitcoin because it keeps perfect records, and so it's going to be an interesting battle. And if India comes out on the side of good, and I think Prime Minister Modi is on the good side. He is trying to get corruption out of the government. I think that is going to be fantastic. And I think he will recognize that Bitcoin's very good for his country, particularly in India, where India is almost leading the way now in fintech. They would lose that leadership very quickly, and they're starting to Dubai if they are too heavy-handed on cryptocurrencies.
And I can't help but ask about Bitcoin because you've been an eternal bull on this asset class, but you can't ignore the kind of acute correction that we've seen. So what is your stand now, Tim, when it comes to the crypto markets?
So I'm not an advisor, investment advisor, so I'm not going to, I'll tell people what I think. And what I think is that I think Bitcoin, because it is uniformly accepted around the world, gives humanity the possibility to take an anthropological leap forward. And it is very exciting in that it does keep perfect records, it's transparent, it's open, it's cross-border, it's global, and you can use it if you're unbanked. You can use it, so it brings people out of poverty. It is a fabulous opportunity for the world. Some of the other cryptocurrencies I'm excited about, and some I am not excited about. I didn't touch FTX. We had an opportunity to invest in that company twice, and we turned it down both times because it's centralized finance. It's controlled by a central authority. And that's what decentralized finance is trying to get away from. We're trying to get away from fiat currency. We're trying to get away from fiat currencies that are controlled by one government or another. We're looking for a decentralized currency where one person, like Sam Bankman-Fried, can't completely destroy an economy. I mean, you look at what's happened in Argentina. They have a leader there that basically destroyed their currency. They printed too much and they destroyed their currency. And so there's no trust in their currency. And so the Argentinians are trying to operate in Bitcoin. I think that maybe you trust your government today, but what about the next generation and the next generation? What happens then? It's still centralized. It's still called a central bank. You want a currency that people can trust, build their economy around, pay taxes with. You want that. And so that's why I think Bitcoin really does take us to another level.
All right, Tim, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks so much for taking time out and joining in.